guys, welcome back to another episode of Think Differently Video Cast. So today we have another breaking down brown culture segment. This one here was a bit of a just controversial episode because there's a lot that I believe, a lot that Hloni believes, a lot that Shumira believes. You know, we all have different experiences, so it can be controversial in terms of opinions, and most likely for the viewers as well. But before we continue, Hloni, how you doing, bro?
I'm knackered, bro. Yourself?
I'm well. A bit tired though.
I can tell.
That drive was long, bro.
Yeah.
Shums, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Doing good. That's good. All right. So yeah. So like I said, this talk is about the trauma of abuse, right? But more specifically for kids or someone who sort of was exposed to abuse.
Growing up.
Yeah, growing up. So it could be maybe as a kid your parents used to argue a lot. Right, and what happens, or they were abusive to each other, you know, in some way, and so there's obviously trauma that comes out from that as the kid who's watching, listening, you know, you're hearing all of this stuff, you know what to do at your age, you're now, you know, trying to think, what do you do, how do you stop this, blah blah blah. So it's from that sort of point of view, and what he wants to do was break down this topic because I really feel like there's oftentimes where people make decisions now in adulthood that comes from the abuse that they faced then, right? So yeah, I know, bro. From your point of view, right? This is not specifically for any racial group, but I'll talk to like Indian people because that's, you know, more or less what I know. You can speak to black, bro. This does obviously happen across all races, but we'll speak specifically for ourselves, bro, you know, and what we've witnessed or heard about, and also seen, you know. So yeah. From your point of view, have you experienced any trauma that you would say or know of someone who has?
Myself, I'm pretty solid, bro.
You're solid?
Yeah, I'm solid. I grew up in a nice household, you know.
Yeah.
I've never seen my dad lay a hand on my mother, or vice versa, you know.
Okay.
I've never really seen anything like that, so.
But in terms of like black culture, bro, I know, so I know in Indian culture, bro, like, maybe it's the old generation, but the men were very dominant, bro. And so a lot of them were very abusive. I know a lot of families, I can talk from experience as well, so like I know all of these things, right? So is it for like in black cultures, because I know some of them, you know, the men are very dominant when it comes to, you know, their household. They're the head of the family, right? So obviously it gives them some sort of dominance, power.
Distorted power,
yeah. You know of any stories?
Yeah, bruh. Look, man, let me say in my family, because I can't speak on other families.
Yes.
It is something prevalent in the black community. It's very, very prevalent, in fact. On my side, I've seen it in an extended family, but it wasn't any physical. It was just like sort of verbal or emotional abuse. And it just made me wonder, like, what if the husband can, you know, scold the woman like this in public, what's happening behind, you know, closed doors.
Yes.
You know, so, and that's the only thing, and how it manifests is, because it's my uncle and aunt, and then obviously they have kids, and those kids are my cousins.
Your cousins, yeah.
Well, my cousins as well.
Your cousins, yeah.
So, but they see us peers, né?
Okay.
So they always, you know how kids are unfiltered. They'll say, what, you know. So they always talk about how they experience the abuse, you know, the mother gets shouted every day, sometimes she gets hit. And what I witness is when they call the mother, they don't say mama or you know, another respectful name to call her out. They call her by her first name. So me coming from a place of respect, like I can't call my mom, you know, her name. So it's certain things they manifest, you know, they tend to, especially the younger boys, you know, they tend to also develop the habit of, you know, degrading the mother in a certain way. I
think it's not even just the mother, I think even like their girlfriends and, you know, other females as well.
You see, so it's actually concerning, bro, and I like that you said it's because of the dominance. It's how can I say this, bro? Personally, I think, man, the issue we have is the system of patriarchy.
Okay.
Yeah, bro, I think
so it's a way back issue.
Yeah, it's a way back issue. The main problem is patriarchy. I think, I'm not saying it's the leading cause of the gender-based violence, but I think it constitutes maybe like 80-90%.
Yeah.
Because everything that manifests like abuse in households. Remember what they say, man is a provider.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they glorify masculinity.
Yes.
A man must be strong, man mustn't cry, what. And then there's this thing of, like I said, the provider. And then, you know, there's a cousin of patriarchy. It's called sexism.
Yes.
You know how boys will be boys, you know, in layman's terms. So all those things, dog. I mean, I think it all plays a part in what we're going to talk about in this episode.
Yeah. All right.
That's right, bro.
Okay. Before we get to me, Shmira.
Oh yeah.
From a lady's point of view, right? Or do you know of anyone, or have you experienced, you know, whatever? You don't have to disclose. You can just speak. What's your thoughts on the topic?
Yes, so 100% seen it, experienced it, and also know of many women who go through it. I think it's definitely something that, like, it's there, and you sort of, even when you hear it, I don't know whether we just sort of, like, you know, you'll be like, sure, that's bad, but you don't take much more action upon that. Like, you wouldn't, you know, it's also like that's their household, it's their own problems and things like that. But definitely, yeah, it's definitely something that happens more often than people actually know or even realize. You could be sitting next to a colleague that could be going through the most.
Yeah.
But you know, like, I liked what actually Shloni had said about the dominance around it. Like, it stems from that, and it also stems from the fact that, you know, what people don't understand is that when you're raising kids and families, what you show them is what they sort of depict as they get older. In a different, it may be the same form, it may be a different form, but they take those traits, how you see a woman, how you think women need to be treated, based on what you have experienced.
Yeah.
Because if you were in a household where your mom gets hit all the time, when you grow up, you know it's wrong, but there comes a point in your life when you also are developing. You may even just change the narrative to say, actually, I understand now why this happens. I'm not saying it's the right thing, but it's that rationale of you trying to also make sense of what you've unfolded. Because as a kid, you can't rationale that. You don't know what you don't know. It sort of is something that you know, you could know it's bad, but you also don't understand much about it, so you can't almost not filter in some of the traits.
Yeah.
I think it does affect you as an adult, but yeah, definitely know of people.
Yeah. So I think it does come down to a lot of, like, you know, so if you go back to the point of a kid who's now an adult and the decisions that they're making, I think all of that, it becomes a choice now, right? And, you know, psychologists may disagree, right? They may try to solve root causes and do what they do professionally, right? So I don't want to judge their profession. But I think, speaking from someone who's never gone to a psychologist, having to witness a lot, right? I was like, you know what, I have one of two choices here. I could be the same person, or I could be different, right?
Sorry, have you experienced it, like?
Yeah.
Like in your home, or you're like maybe
in my home, right?
In your home,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I have one of two choices, right? I could be the same person, or I could change, right? I don't have to be this person, and so the thing is, you have to make conscious efforts. And this is the trauma that you experience, right? Is that even when you're with a woman, or if you're with, you know, you got a girlfriend or whatever, and she's pissed you the fuck off, bro, you have to consciously make a decision to not react physically. It's a very conscious effort. No matter what, they could be screaming at you, they could smack you, right, across your face, and you'd have to make the conscious effort to not retaliate. But I have obviously changed my views in terms of a woman has to smack me across my face. I may just retaliate because I have a completely different view on equality, but that's a different story, right? But what I'm trying to say is that it really comes down to how you, as now the adult who has gone through this and haven't clearly healed or gone through a psychologist or whatever to help you heal, and you sort of want to figure this out on your own, there's nothing wrong with that, right? How you figure it out is your way. Maybe you develop a different addiction because of it, and it helps you sort of cope. I can tell you, I hit the gym, bro. That was my coping mechanism. I was like, bro, I've been gymming since, I've been trying since high school, primary school, whatever, bro. And I'm literally like, that was my coping mechanism. And that's why, like, even with Shamira, I always tell her, I was like, the gym time is my time. How it started, right? It manifested because of the trauma I went through, but it then became a lifestyle. And at the same time, even if I want to have a good session, I sort of trigger a memory that sort of pumps me up to a point where it's like, nah, I'm gonna fuck this shit up, bro. But then by the time I'm done with the gym, right? Whatever the fuck fueled me, it's gone, bro. I'm like so relaxed. I've released all the tension. I'm out going out the gym feeling great. And then you sort of like the rest of your day just like goes on, bro. So I think in terms of breaking it down, like how do you come back from that trauma that you experienced? Is find something that gives you an addiction that's healthy, like the gym. Like that's a healthy addiction, right? Don't go start partying every weekend, bro. It's not healthy, bro. Maybe reading, maybe traveling, whatever it is, bro.